But I've said it for a long time that I think they should part ways, and I think LeBron should go back to Cleveland, play a year there or two, or whatever the case may be.
ESPN Shams reported last week that the Lakers have not made an offer to LeBron yet. So if LeBron wants to keep playing, he may need to do it on a new team for the mid-level exception worth.
Everybody expected this summer to be about one question: where would LeBron James play next? Instead, the conversation took a completely different turn. A Lakers legend looked at everything that happened and delivered a message that shocked a lot of fans. Byron Scott didn't just say it was time for the Lakers to move on. He argued that LeBron no longer has the kind of influence people still think he does. If he's right, then one of the biggest narratives surrounding LeBron's career has just changed forever.
He can still play, but when you have an opportunity with the Los Angeles Lakers to build around Luka, AR, bring in some fresh meat, some young talented guys, you could save $50+ million off the salary cap to bring in some younger guys.
LeBron has spent years being viewed as the player who could influence almost every major decision around a franchise. Whether it was roster moves, coaching hires, or free agency, fans believed his voice carried more weight than anyone else's. That's why Byron Scott's comments stood out. He wasn't criticizing LeBron's greatness, he was saying the league has changed. LeBron is still one of the smartest players in basketball, but the Lakers are no longer building every decision around him. According to Scott, the organization had reached a point where it had to think about its future instead of continuing to revolve around one player.
In terms of LeBron's legacy, how will you remember his time, his 8 seasons with the Lakers?
I mean, if I had to grade it from A to F, I probably would give it a B.
What makes this story even more interesting is the timing. The Lakers aren't the same team they were 5 years ago. The priorities have changed. The front office isn't just trying to win the next game, it's trying to build the next era of Lakers basketball. Scott believes that's exactly why the franchise couldn't keep making decisions based on LeBron's timeline. At some point, every organization has to choose between extending the past and investing in the future. His opinion was simple: the Lakers had already reached that moment. For years, people argued that if LeBron wanted something, the Lakers would eventually make it happen. That's where Scott completely disagreed. He believes the balance of power shifted because the franchise finally started thinking beyond one player. Whether fans agree with that or not, it's difficult to ignore what happened over the last few seasons. The Lakers struggled to build sustained championship success despite having one of the greatest players in NBA history. Winning the 2020 title was a huge accomplishment, but the years that followed brought early playoff exits, roster changes, injuries, and constant questions about the team's direction.
You want to move on and be a championship team for the next 5, 6, 7 years, you got to build around Luka Dončić, Austin Reeves. You can't do that if he's still here. Yeah. He's $50 million. That comes off the cap. You can go get 2 really good basketball players.
That brings us to the part people are debating the most. Did the Lakers reject LeBron, or did they simply choose a different direction? Those are 2 very different things. Scott's argument isn't really about one contract or one offseason. It's about the franchise deciding that the next decade matters more than the last one. He believes championship organizations eventually have to make difficult decisions, even when those decisions involve all-time great players. That's never easy, especially when the player is someone who changed the history of the league. The numbers make this conversation even more complicated. LeBron delivered a championship in 2020. He became the NBA's all-time leading scorer while wearing a Lakers jersey. He continued producing at an age when most players are already retired. Yet, Scott still gave his Lakers tenure a B grade because he expected multiple championships, not just one. Coming from a 3-time Lakers champion, that opinion carries weight, even if plenty of fans strongly disagree.
I just thought it was laughable, coming from one of the greatest players that ever played a game, to say that it's harder to play now than it was then.
Are you ready to see him go from the Lakers?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan, but I don't mince words either. I mean, I think this should be his last year here.
And that's why this story has become much bigger than one interview. It's no longer just about Byron Scott's opinion. It's about how LeBron's Lakers legacy will be remembered years from now. Was one championship enough, considering the expectations? Did the Lakers fail LeBron by not building stronger championship rosters around him? Or was Scott right that the franchise eventually had to stop looking backward and start building for the future? Those questions are only getting louder, and they set up an even bigger debate about where LeBron's place in Lakers history really belongs. The more this story is discussed, the more one question keeps coming up. Was this really about basketball, or was it about control? For years, LeBron was viewed as one of the most influential players the league had ever seen. Wherever he played, people assumed his opinion mattered on every major decision. That's why Byron Scott's comments landed so hard. He wasn't questioning LeBron's talent, he was questioning whether that influence still existed. In Scott's eyes, the Lakers had reached a point where they were making decisions for the franchise, not for one player. That was the biggest shift of all.
Let's transition. With LeBron gone, Luka is going to be the official face of the Lakers moving forward. Brian Windhorst, is he prepared to carry that burden?
Man, Hembo is so bogus with that, man. That is just bogus.
Very typical, Wendy.
The Lakers have their hands full right now.
If that's true, then this offseason becomes about much more than one roster move. It becomes the moment the Lakers officially turn the page. Every great franchise eventually reaches that crossroads. The Celtics had to move on from legends. The Spurs eventually entered life after Tim Duncan. Even the Bulls had to rebuild after Michael Jordan. Those decisions are never popular in the moment, but organizations don't think in one-year windows. They think about the next 5 or 10 years. Byron Scott believes that's exactly what the Lakers are doing now, even if it means saying goodbye to one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. That doesn't erase what LeBron accomplished in Los Angeles. He helped deliver the franchise's 17th championship. He became the NBA's all-time leading scorer in a Lakers uniform. Even in his late 30s and early 40s, he continued putting up numbers that most players could only dream about. Those achievements aren't disappearing because one former coach offered a tough opinion. At the same time, Scott's point wasn't about statistics. His argument was that expectations were even higher. When a player is widely considered one of the greatest of all time, one championship naturally leads people to ask whether there should have been more.
This one, Luka and LeBron, pretty seamless. And I think that's about the reaction that everyone in LA has, which is it's Luka Dončić's team. This has been in motion really since last summer when the Lakers pitched Luka Dončić on a future with the team. Remember, he signed an extension after that trade. And Rob Pelinka brought a whole binder with plans saying, we're going to have cap space starting in 2026. Well, where does that cap space start? It starts with LeBron James coming off the books. And
that's where this debate becomes impossible to settle. Some fans believe LeBron did everything he could and the front office failed to surround him with enough consistent talent. Others believe the roster changes made during his time in Los Angeles never produced the long-term chemistry needed to compete for multiple championships. Then there are people who agree with Byron Scott. They argue that once the Lakers realized another title wasn't guaranteed, the smartest move was to stop chasing the past and start preparing for the future. All three arguments have supporters, and that's exactly why this conversation refuses to disappear. There's also another side that often gets overlooked. Great players are usually judged by different standards than everyone else. If another superstar joined a franchise, won a championship, and became the league's all-time scoring leader, most organizations would celebrate that era without hesitation. But this is the Lakers. Championships are the expectation, not the exception. Every superstar who wears purple and gold gets compared to Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaquille O'Neal. That's why LeBron's Lakers career continues to spark so much debate. The standard has always been different. Maybe that's what Byron Scott was really trying to say. His comments weren't meant to erase LeBron's accomplishments. They were meant to acknowledge that every era eventually comes to an end. No player, no matter how great, stays at the center of a franchise forever. Eventually, the organization has to make decisions that aren't based on the biggest name in the room. Whether fans agree with Scott or not, that's the reality he believes the Lakers have finally accepted. And that leaves one final question. Years from now, How will people remember LeBron's time in Los Angeles? Will they remember the championship that brought the Lakers back to the top? Will they remember the scoring record and the remarkable longevity? Or will they remember an era that never reached the dynasty many expected? That's what makes Byron Scott's comments so powerful. They aren't just about LeBron's influence today. They're about how history will judge one of the most fascinating chapters of his career. So what do you think? Was Byron Scott right that the Lakers had to move on and that LeBron no longer had the influence he once did? Or do you think the franchise made the wrong decision and failed to maximize the final years of one of the greatest players in NBA history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is one debate that basketball fans will be arguing about for a long time.